Yeah. All right, give me a second, y'all.
What are you coming out now? Yeah, yesterday went to overtime.
Huh?
The game yesterday went to overtime.
That's a good game. You done with that?
All right, we back. We back. So where we stopped at, man, if we can continue, is we were talking about the Daughters of the American Revolution and about the white Fezz and how it represents the Moabite and the Asiatic sisters and how they use the science to strengthen themselves. And it's known as the fall of the great angel, if we didn't know that. If we didn't know that. It's the fall of the great angel. And many wear the womb as a royal crown, except for the Moorish women. And that's what we're trying to get our empress to get back to, wearing this fez. Isn't it sad that you hear brothers call themselves Moorish to tell our Moorish empress that they can't wear the fez and it represents them? Where does this stuff come from? That's just like some preacher telling the women that they can't wear pants. Same crazy stuff. And the fez represents the woman. You can, of course, you can wear your turban, but the fez represents you. But many wear the womb as a royal crown except for the Moorish woman. And she is the mother of all civilizations. And clearly she has been unconscious. And it's time now. Now is the time for her to awaken so the great meeting can take place. What do Moors think the great meeting is all about? What do y'all think the great meeting is all about? When I talk about this white fez with the green this white fez with the gold tassel, and who our prophet has on his, and who our prophet have in his arms, fallen humanity. When I talk about the great meeting, and when it's known as the fall of the great angel, it's talking about the our empresses. When I keep telling my empress, you are the Eastern Star. I teach this. The Daughter of the American Revolution, it connotated you. You know? This is what I tell people. I'm like, this is science. It's all about the woman. That's what I be telling more. This is when I say that she's been unconscious, and it's time now for her to awaken so that the great meeting can take place. Who do y'all think the prophet having there? What do y'all think the prophet talk about the great meeting? What do Moors think the great meeting is all about? I'll wait. What do Moors think the great meeting is all about? What do Moors think the great meeting is all about? Somebody talk to me. Leave those on. Yeah, I really needed another one. That's why I said, but I'm good. For those sisters who are in the secret societies, which are the Eastern Stars, the secret is about you. The secret is about you. All empresses that's under some oath, under some European charter, no disrespect to nobody. But the secret is about you. You are aware of Esther, E-S-T-H-E-R, or Easter, or Istar, or Isis, Astarte, or Venus, right? And in addition, and proof that the universal language is that of what? Cosmology. This is why you are called the Eastern Star, because Venus is the Eastern Star. Empresses, Venus is the Eastern Star. And to my sisters who have not been previously aware, you may not be a so-called Eastern Star member, which you don't have to be. That's why I said, that's why I created the school, for you can get your rightful place back in society, who you are. You don't got to be no member of no Eastern Star. You a Moorish empress. It's your right to study the teachings and the masonry science. It's ours. And you need not to be. Yet you are an Eastern Star. You are a star from the East. You are the star from the East. When they tell you to come to the East, you represent the East. You are the East. That's why I tell Moors and empresses, a lot of stuff was done for the slave, not for the master, per se. If you say you're a god. Venus, the cosmic mother, which rules Libra, or Ma'at. When I tell my empress, you, the woman, you are Ma'at, the garden that produced what? Food and life. The woman, you empresses are what? Ma'at, the garden that produces what? Food and life. And preserve the balance of nature with her what? Scales of what? Justice. And her sword of what? Truth. And what else? Retribution, Moors. It is time to rise from the ignorance and see her for who she is. You need to see yourself for who you are. And more importantly, for your obligation and responsibility to humanity. Who do you think the prophet have on his hands? Fallen humanity. What is the great meeting? The great meeting is for our emperors to get themselves back to a standard. Yeah, in a minute. So if you don't plan, when I talk about plan, when we plan, what are we doing when we planning? We are planting things. So when we plant, or when we bring, or when we plan to bring any more royal crowns here, we must teach our daughters, who are the direct descendants of the founders of civilization. We must teach our ancient high science, our culture, our Gnosticism, our cosmology, our alchemy, our geometry, our algebra, our numerology, our astrology, our architecture, our mathematics, our philosophies, and the science of the womb. When I speak on 9 to the 9th power that we're going to jump in, as everyone else is drawing wealth and knowledge and synchronizing and coming together from the teachings, from wearing our crown. It's the symbol of the womb atop her head as their royal crown, except for the mother of civilization herself. Why are we wearing a fez, and why are we not wearing our fez? You, the Moabite, the Moors, the Asiatic, the African woman. You, why are you not wearing your fez, empresses? Do you see how I break this down? The great meeting is all about you. The great meeting is all about you. The great meeting is all about you. The science of the womb. Right? Many wear this fez representing the Asiatic woman. And you are the mothers and daughters of civilization. That's why when we talk about when the secret is about you, empresses. When I say the woman is Ma'at, the garden that produced food and life, I'm serious with this teaching. That's the great meeting that take place. That's who our prophet have in his hand. Fallen humanity. Without the woman, we're done. That's what Moors don't understand. We're missing it. You're going to talk about you some God. Not without the goddess. There's no way. That's why I tell them, sister, with the Eastern stars, they talking about you. The secret is about you. When I talk about Easter, Istar, Isis, Asteri, Venus, all indicating the universal language of the cosmology, empresses. That's why you are called the Eastern star, because Venus is the Eastern star. You don't got to be no member. This is about you. You must be the teachings. That's why I said this is what we're doing. We're gathering ourselves under the right auspices. Venus, the cosmic mother, which rules Libra, which is Ma'at, and preserves the balance of nature with her scales of justice and the swords of retribution, empresses. Come on. It's about you. We must teach our daughters this, who are the direct descendants of the founders of civilization. We must teach this science. Numerology, what you say, Empress? Alchemy, architecture, mathematics, philosophies, all this stuff, all the science of the womb. And everyone else is drawing wealth and knowledge from it and wearing it as a symbol of the womb atop their head, except the Asiatic empresses. I can't hear. You hear me? We got to teach our empresses this. Just like how I showed y'all how different people wear our fez in clandestine. When I say they got Al, when they got El Bay, Allah, all in the Fezz, and they know the science, the same way that the daughters of American Revolution do the same thing. It's no difference. When I tell Moors, you're going to let some goofball Moor tell you and lie to you, and the science is ours. That's why I said we put a clean glass next to a dirty glass and we teach our science and we let the chips fall where they may be. This is our science. I'm trying to bring us out of the shallow grave of false teachings. The work has been done. This ain't gonna take me long. Empress. This ain't gonna take me long.
Sure.
I'm 100%. This ain't gonna take me long. Watch this.
I believe that.
Now watch. I'm gonna show y'all how we circle the square. I'm gonna show you all about the 9 to the 9th power of 9. But I'm gonna give y'all a brief history of what mathematics is, and we're gonna wrap it up because school gonna be amazing. I said I'll never these are Sunday lessons. That's why I said if more is like what I'm saying, Cash App $ KGB for the teachings. That's all. It don't hurt to give a donation. Everybody that give a donation at the end of the year, you will get a receipt. It's just what it is. This is a real nonprofit school. What is mathematics? Mathematics is an intellectual and scientific tool created and invented by African people for the purpose of systematically studying, learning, and comprehending nature. And since mathematics is the intellectual tool used for studying nature, there is a field of mathematics that corresponds to every aspect of nature. And in the broadcast and in the broadest sense, nobles and empresses, nature consists of space vacuums, matter energy, and time existence. And the field of mathematics called what? Arithmetic deals with the basic counting of quantifying things found in nature with similar quantities or qualities, nobles. But algebra studies the formulas and equations of nature, and geometry and trigonometry studies the space shapes and forms of nature. That's why when I teach this, they love it. Calculus studies the change over time in nature. So if we say we don't like something, if we say we connected to nature, all we must do is just connect the teachings to nature. Even the mental faculties of humans are studied in the fields of mathematical logic, using what, nobles? Binary algebra, which studies logic and reason, and stats, which studies speculation and probability or belief. When I talk about we're talking about the science and the theory. I know the theory, but the science liberates. Islam Moors? But formal definitions of mathematics state that the mathematics is the scientific and systematic treatment and study of quantity, magnitude, multitude, form, structure, space, and change, and using symbolic objects to discover patterns, find solutions, determine conclusions, and establish truth using rigorous deductive reasoning. You see when I tell you this is a study and truth has no size? The etymology of the word mathematics, nobles and empresses, come from a Greek word, mathema. It's like mathema, meaning to learn or think, to have one's mind aroused, to be wise, wide awake, and lively. The suffix, the tic in mathematic, shortened version of the Greek word techne, tekhne, as a technique in the word mathematics means system, process, method, art or craft. When I say, man, this is a craft, this is an art, what I'm doing. A person just can't give themselves scholar and chic and adapt and they don't know the science and can't break it down. Thus, the etymological sense of the word mathematics is the art of thinking, systematic learning, or thought process. So when we talk about modern scientists classify mathematics as a formal science to distinguish it from other fields of science called natural science, which is physics, chemistry, biology. because the natural science rely on what? Experimentation, evidence, and the scientific method to arrive at scientific results and conclusion, whereas mathematics uses definitions, abstractions, logic, and reason as the basis of what? Mathematical proofs, concepts, and conclusions. So the four basic steps to the scientific method, Moors, are observation, hypothesis, testing, and conclusions. See how I'm making you use your hippocampus? While the four basic steps to the mathematical method are comprehension, analysis, synthesis, conclusion. And the mental ideas, concepts, symbols, and abstractions that form the basis of mathematics are called what, Morris? Do y'all know what they're called? When some more talk about, oh yeah, they deal with supreme mathematics. I say, man, no, you're not. I know about all the gods on earth. You just breaking something down, but you don't know how to use it. They're called mathematical objects. And mathematical objects are used to model and represent various observed aspects in reality and the natural world. Examples of some modern mathematical objects are numbers, functions, formulas, equations, groups, sets, graph, matrix, points, lines, triangles, circles, squares, cubes. Y'all follow me? That's why, for example, Moore's mathematics, it cannot be proven that the number 2 exists. Watch this. When I talk about math objects, provide a way for the human mind to comprehend and explain the model of reality. When we talk about proper understanding, enables the observer or the student to distinguish what exists as a concept and what exists as reality. So when we talk about proper understanding of the point or the context that I'm trying to give, it distinguishes what exists as a concept and what is reality. Like an example, Moors. And if you understand what I'm saying, talk to me. Say Islam. For example, it cannot be proven that the number 2 exists in reality, right? But however, it can be proven that based on the definition of what the number 2 represents, Moors. Examples can be found in reality that correspond to what the number 2 represents by definition. And the same thing is true for all mathematical objects. The best and most efficient mathematical object are those concepts and ideas whose symbols closely correspond to the real phenomena that they intend to represent, Moors. And this mental process of conceptually, figuratively, and symbolically depicting, portraying, and displaying real natural phenomena for the purpose of learning, comprehending, and applying and manipulating. When I talk about the 7 Kemetic principles, what? The law of attraction. We must use it to manipulate. Nature began with the earliest humans in where? Africa, Akibalan, and Mexima. And so some examples of the earliest African mathematical objects include many of the gods and the goddesses, Moors, like Ta, which with a P. People like to say Pa, but the P is not pronounced. The Re or the Ra or Tehuti, Mayat, and Hika, and their associated signs and symbols. I'll show you a few signs and the symbols for you can understand. These are mathematic numbers, man. When people talk about the Eye of Horus, I'll be like, Morris, don't y'all know these are mathematical figures? Like these figures can be broken down. That's why I said things were hidden in the hieroglyphs. And then Morris said they Egyptologists. And I said, well, you should be able to break down and synchronize the science. You talk about some Egyptians and the Hebrews and all those people, different people. Man, you the same people. Only way you knew the difference from how they dress. I show you things was taken out to confuse you. When I tell you about the story of Anna, Seneth, and Joseph, that was taken out the biblical scriptures, when you can start connecting dots. This is the thing. Numbers don't lie. Example of African mathematical objects. examples of modern mathematical objects. So one, I showed you examples of modern mathematical objects, and on the other side were the examples of the African mathematical objects. The same thing. You hear that? Modern. Here we go. African mathematics, objects, mathematics, same thing. Same thing. You see what I'm telling you? You see what I'm saying? So how somebody gonna teach you something, and especially when they talk about they can't circle a square, where are the science? So we teach. Mathematics is a science that can be found in all objects of science. That's why mathematics is the science in science. And it is a combination of mathematics based on logic and reason with natural science based on the evidence and the scientific method that enables correct and accurate descriptions, comprehension, and explanation of nature and reality. That's why mathematical objects or mathematical models that accurately describe the evidence, experience, and natural science. It facilitates the ability to model and replicate and recreate the various observed natural phenomena, Moors. That's why when we talk about mathematics and mathematical knowledge cannot be applied in reality without studying the natural science. And conversely, the knowledge obtained using evidence and experience in the natural science cannot be applied without mathematics. And the purpose of any type of knowledge is to do what? Apply it. That's why I'll be saying if none of this stuff is, you can't even apply to mathematics, it's no good. It's the union of the evidence and the experience from the natural science with the logic and reason from mathematics that makes it possible to use and apply any knowledge obtained from survival and well-being, Moors. That's why when Moors just wearing the Fezz, when I just taught the history of the Fezz, I know they don't operate right because they don't even know what the Fezz represents. And they're not willing to be students of the teachings. Mathematics is a mental process of finding and figuring things out. And mathematics is the mental process of finding the answer to a question or the solution to a problem. And mathematics is the solution, is a solution form of reason or solution reason. And is the mind or the hippocampus concentrating upon finding the answer to the question of the solution to a problem. That's why mathematics, Moors, as the solution form of reason, is naturally solvent, capable of solving problems. So when I talk about the ability to replicate, model, and manipulate, when I talk about the 7 Kemetic principles, when I talk about the law of attraction, and control various aspects of nature using what? Mathematics. It was known to the earliest Africans as Hika. And Hika as a concept was used to represent the manipulation of the elements of nature. Hika is often defined as magic, Moors, and magic is defined as the practice of producing a desired effect or resulting by techniques that enable humans to control forces of nature. That's one of the 7 Kemetic principles. That's how I know Moors don't understand when I say this is a synchronicity. You getting caught up because you don't understand the language. In modern terms, Moors, Hika and magic would be called what? Engineering. Engineering is defined as the process of acquiring and applying scientific and mathematical knowledge to design and develop inventions that realize a desired objective. So when looking at the definition of engineering, magic, and Hika, the relation or the synchronicity can be seen, and successfully practicing engineering, Hika, or magic depends on what? Mathematics. But you let somebody get you caught up with some magic like something scary. That's why you got to understand that etymology of the word engineer comes from the word engine, E-N-G-I-N, meaning skill and cleverness. And also the word ingenium, I-N-G-E-N-I-U-M, meaning inborn qualities or talent, and gene, the G-E-N-E, which Genesis, genes, meaning to beget or to produce. Given the etymology of the word engineer, Moors and empresses, and the definition of the word engineer as someone who practiced Hika or magic the process of acquiring and applying scientific and mathematical knowledge for the purpose of producing a desired effect. And it implies that this engineering ability is related to genes, genetics, or certain inborn qualities. That's like when Moors talk about, oh, they don't deal with this, they don't deal with this, oh, I deal with civics. Well, civics is dealing with your people. This is a holy and divine creed. If you're saying you a Moor, well, being a Moor and being Moorish has to do with how you study, how you love, how you under the right auspices. Don't just wear the fez as if there's no hat. You must covenant. It is also true that the ancient Africans viewed the ability to practice magic or hika or engineering with certain blood lineages or genetics. That's why in mathematics, it's a field called what? Pure mathematics, and also called what? Speculative mathematics, which is performing mathematics solely on the purpose of what? Displaying eloquent logic and reason or rituals. When we talk about the SO and the XO, without the intention of ever applying the mathematical concepts to the real world. And this is the opposite of the field of mathematics called what? Applied mathematics, also called what? Operative mathematics. And applied mathematics, nobles, is the field of mathematics that's dedicated to the application and utilization of mathematics in all other sciences and disciplines. Y'all follow me? That's why when I talk about pure math or speculative math, is that while it may be performed without the intention of being applied. That's why mathematical concepts developed are based on rigorous deductive reasoning. When I say this is a skill, and if you say you a master teacher, why you can't break it down and teach everybody else? There's no rush. Then an application in what? The real world. When I say we can change this paradigm, who? Us. We must apply these teachings under the right auspices. It must happen in the real world. For the abstract, for the mathematical concept is usually discovered later, Moors. And this fact shows that the real world is based on what? Reason. And the danger of pure math is if rigorous deductive reasoning is abandoned, degraded, disregarded, or forgotten while performing pure math, which Moors do now, or speculative mathematics, thought processes of any type, then it gives way to creating mental objects that have no application. Like when I say mental objects, making things that don't mean nothing, that's not going to do nothing for who you are. In the real world, that are literally useless, and serve the purpose of being only mind-numbing entertainment. Are y'all following me? The pure math or speculative mathematics without rigorous deductive reasoning give way to the esoteric speculative field of numerology. I hope y'all following this science, man. I'm showing you how all the teachings is universal. And if you're studying the teaching, it'll correct yourself from what? Being led astray. Always talking about a people. Numerology, by definition, is any system or set of ideas, belief, or hypothesis about the relationship between numbers and reality. And there is nothing wrong or incorrect about forming hypotheses, beliefs. But however, when conclusions are drawn about the hypothesis, Moors, and beliefs without appropriately testing them using the scientific method, in the case of what? Natural science, or without rigorous deductive reasoning. What I'm saying, believe in bullcrap. In the case of mathematics and the formal sciences, then it leads to inaccurate explanations, connotated religious dogma, arbitrary explanations of things, linguistic apartheid, inaccurate explanations of reality that cannot be used and applied, and waste time, nobles and empresses. It wastes energy, nobles and empresses, and an effort of individuals who have accepted the inaccurate explanations as truth and have attempted to apply them. And that's why our prophet said, your ideas for your salvation. Failure to obey these rules would be severe consequence. That's why, because numerological conclusions and explanations are based on what? Untested, loosely tested, or poorly tested beliefs and hypothesis. When I talk about people's belief system or the theory, it is considered a pseudoscience or a pseudo-mathematics. Y'all know what pseudo mean, right? Look what pseudo mean. P-H-E-U-D-O. Pseudo, because all of the results from numerological explanations and conclusions are not consistent when tested. Each time the conditions are the same. So if we test something when the conditions are the same, we should get the same results. I hope y'all following me. That's why when I teach about subjective and objective connotation, denotation, it must be words, linguistic apartheid. We must understand the language. But however, numerology, by definition, which is a belief about numbers or mathematical objects, relationship to reality, is essential in mathematics. That's why when I talk about the Moorish Quran, knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, astronomy, nature. But what separates mathematics from numerology is the presence of rigorous deductive reasoning and consistency. Many of the earliest mathematicians were numerologists, and many of the present-day modern mathematicians are numerologists to some degree. We have to be. Therefore, in the field of numerology, when I talk about the Quran, which is the Quran is about numerology as well, there does exist what could be considered operative numerology. And operative numerology would be the conclusion and explanations from the field of numerology that are consistent, testable, reasonable, and applicable. Our Moorish Quran teach this. Our Moorish Quran is knowledge, order, rhythm, astrology, astronomy, nature. It talks about the 18 missing years of Yahshua's life. It talks about our workman tools. It talks about how to be upright, husband, wife, children, all that. Numerology gives birth to the mathematics through reason. I told y'all, man, we connect all these dots. In terms of numerology and mathematics, the word math comes from the Greek word metheus, M-E-T-H-E-U-S, or mathematos, meaning to think or to learn. And the word myth, M-Y-T-H, comes from the Greek word mythos, meaning talk, speech, or story. So both math and myth refer to thought. Moors. Myth becomes math by way of evidence and reason. And this is the forward process of the human mind experiencing nature, speculating on explanations for the experience, testing the speculation for validity or truth, using evidence and reasoning. And if the speculation is proved valid, declaring a mathematical or a scientific principle, Moors. So math becomes a myth by way of speculation without evidence and reasoning. Are you following me? And this is the backward process of the human mind experiencing a mathematical principle. Y'all walking with me? Declared by someone else without knowing the reasons, the proofs, or meanings of the mathematical principle. Are y'all walking with me? If you're walking with me, somebody say Islam. Somebody say Shalom Aleichem. Somebody say peace be with you. Somebody talk to me. What's up, Empress? Can I get some more libations? But numerology is mathematic mythology and can be valid or invalid depending on the numerological principles that was declared using the forward or backward process of the human mind. So that's why we got to consider the ancient mathematical problem. This is where we finna get good. When I tell y'all, Islam, now we finna consider the ancient mathematical problem of squaring a circle. Watch this. Squaring the circle is the process of trying to construct a square that has the same area as a circle using only a compass and a straight edge. So mathematics, like myself, we represent the objects, the finite, the operative, the exoteric, the quantification, the science, while numerology represents the subject, the infinite, the speculative, the esoteric quantification science, nobles. So the principles of the field of mathematics could be represented by the geometric symbol of the square, and the principles of the field of the numerology could be represented by the geometric symbol of the circle. So esoterically, in the field of numerology, the process of squaring the circle is a metaphor for attempting to make the infinite become the finite and make the unknown become known, making the mathematics equivalent to numerology. For example, nobles, esoterically, you got to research what esoterically means. So esoterically, in the field of mathematics, the geometric problem of squaring the circle does have a theoretical solution. It does have a theoretical solution. Watch. But theoretical, you remember what I said, but theoretical solutions is considered impossible to apply or construct using a compass and a straight edge tool because the equation for the area of a circle contains the infinite. The transcendental, man, where that book by Elysius Levi, The Transcendental Magic, when I told you they connotate all the science, when I tell y'all the Baphomet is nothing scary, that's transcendental magic. Elysius Levi connotated that. And I tell y'all the Baphomet is nothing scary. Temp, Hob, Abs, Ava, written Kabbalistically. We gonna teach that. But it represents the infinite, the transcendental constraint, the number pi, right? The so-called n, or the 1, equals 3.1459. And mathematically, while squares and circles are both equal in degree, with both shapes having a total of 360 degrees. I'm finna show y'all, my drawing ain't good, so I'm gonna use the book. Because when I drew last time, my wife was like, boy, don't nobody know what you drew. They knew this, they knew what the circle was, they knew what the square was, but all my parameters, right, like it looked like Chinese. So I'm gonna use the professionals. But mathematically, while squares and circles are both equal in degree, with both shapes having a total of 360 degrees each, they are different in the formulas of perimeter, circumference, and area. Watch this, Morris. Watch how we correct this. Like I said, I'm here to teach. I need more students, man. We gonna change this paradigm in 1 year. Now watch this. Supreme mathematics, when I talk about African Hika, Islam, noble, take them notes. That's what we're supposed to do. Alike or different. Alike or different. Alike and equal in degree, but different and unequal in area and parameter. Y'all hear me? Total degrees of a circle. I'm just going to draw that. I'm going to show y'all the pictures. Here go the circle, right? Here go the circle. Watch a line down, boom. A line down, boom. Then I make a little circle in the middle again, boom. So I got 4 parts, 90, 90, 90, 90. So the total parameter equal in 360. This is the circle. Parameter, pi, diameter, or diameter. The area equals pi, or the radius, to the second power. Now watch what I'm do the square. Y'all ready? Square. Watch this. Boom. Corner, 90. Another corner, 90. Bottom, 90. Other bottom, 90. Total degree, 360. Same as the circle. Parameter equaling 4. Length, area equaling length 2 to the second power. Y'all follow me? The same thing I can do with the swastika. When you take the swastika and stand it straight up, it's not really the swastika. Those are African symbols. I just showed y'all the signs and symbols that relate to old African symbols and mathematics, right? So watch this. Watch us square the circle. Watch us square the circle. So I told y'all the circle and the square have the same circumference. My pictures, I can't draw that good. So I got to use my reference books. When somebody telling you can't circle the square, I just broke that down. The circle, total degree is 360. The square, total degree is 360. When I take the so-called swastika and stand it straight up, it's 362. So now I'm going to break down squaring a circle. When I talk about parameter and diameter. Now let's do this science. Here go the square, or here go the square. Here go the circle. So notice you're going to have a radius of 1 on the corner. And then you notice when you do it again, you're going to have a radius of 1 as well, going off the crop. So watch this. Or you're going to have a radius of 1, and you're going to have a diameter of 2. I hope you follow this math. See, man, when I started studying the right way in high school, I thought I didn't like math and geometry. And then when I started studying more science, I said, man, if I would have known this at a young age, man, ain't no way in heck. That's why I said this is for our babies, to correct the teachings. But the theoretical solution to the problem is to construct at circle with a radius equaling 1, a diameter equaling 2, and a square with the length equaling 1.77245, where the area of the circle and the square would both be what? Pi, or they meet as 1. And the closest number approximation that yields a circle and a square with similar areas is a circle with a diameter equaling 9 and a radius equaling 4.5 and a square with the length equaling 8, whereas the area of the circle would be approximately 63.6 and the area of the square would be 64. You see this science, man? See, we teach. That's why I said we need students, man. This physically and spiritually. That's what more is helping we build. So we had a temple out here. We build our land and we teach the right way. We teach all the teachings. I'm going to synchronize history, the Quran, law, everything, nature, everything. That's why when I talk about the key of supreme mathematics is to convey knowledge and information that is usable, able to be used and applicable, able to be applied. And for this reason, we attempt to be metaphorically squaring the circle, or take the usable and apply the concepts of both mathematics and numerology, since both of these fields are ours, or African and Kibbalan and Moorish in origin. And the field of mathematics called applied mathematics is emphasized due to it being readily practicable, applicable, and usable. It is through mathematics in conjunction with the science that potential African creation energy can be transformed into what? Kinetic or active African creation energy for the purpose of achieving the goal of creating everything needed for the survival and well-being of us, of who we are, using our science and of what? Mathematics. That's why when I talk about that Maya magic as a representation of how the information can be transferred to us, and how I attempt to metaphorically square the circle. And when I told y'all that's term supreme mathematics, it sounds rather objective and scientific. But however, Moors, as I discuss, or as I will discuss later, you got to understand subjective, esoteric, and speculative. You got to understand the terms, the sounds, rather than subjective and esoteric. But you got to understand what angle a person is always coming from when it's dealing with mathematics and science. That's why when I break down, when people ask me the teachings is the 9 to the 9th power of 9. And supreme mathematics, it follows as this, Moors. What we're showing is the fact that mathematics is African in origin. That's what I'm showing, Moors. I'm showing the relation between African mathematics, the mathematical objects, the terms and the concepts, to modern mathematical objects and terms and concepts. That's why I say this synchronizes. I show you that African mathematical methods can be used to solve certain problems, not easily solved by modern mathematical methods, if you understand the science. What we do is show the importance of the ancient Africans' place on mathematics to solve all problems, establish truth and order, which is Ma'at, and apply knowledge to create, to develop, and engineer any and all systems and techniques needed for survival and well-being. If we say we're from nature, if you say you're from nature, then nature creates from nature, and you can extract things from nature. That's why when I talk about soul food, and I say, man, you don't know what soul food, because soul food comes from Mother Earth. If it's soul food, it has a seed which can be planted, which can grow. That's soul food. That's coming from Mother Earth, baby. You know? So that's what I want to make clear. You know? Remember the Greek word mathema, M-A-T-H-E-M-A, meaning thought. And the word mathematics is also related to the word metheus, M-E-T-H-E-U-S, meaning thought, that can be found in the name of Greek deity, Prometheus, meaning forethought. Man, I'll break down all that stolen legacy, man. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was the son of Themis, Greek deity called Lady of Justice, and Prometheus stole fire from Zeus and gave it to humanity And Prometheus is comparable to another character in Greek mythology called Hermes, who was considered the inventor of fire, the messenger of Greek deities, and Greek deity of wisdom, writing, and invention. The fire is the Greek mythology story of Hermes, invented the Prometheus, stole from Zeus to give to humanity, is symbolic of knowledge or information, which humanity acquires by thinking and learning. Are y'all, if you rocking with me, somebody says, talk to me. I keep telling y'all, the teachings is connotated. I teach with the source. This fire or knowledge could be used in either a constructive or a destructive manner. Just like when I tell you biblical teachings and things, I said the problem why you confused is because you've been taught wrong. And the fire for all intents and purposes is mathematics and a human thought process. You know? And the same principles found in Prometheus steals 5 stories can be found in the biblical Genesis story of the serpent who is equated with Lucifer, the light of the torchbearer. And in the Garden of Eden, who convinced Adam and so-called Eve, when I tell y'all talk about some Lucifer and it's the morning star, it's the same stuff. But Adam and Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge, which God attempted to keep from them, humanity. Another story which parallels with the Prometheus story about humanity, acquisition of the fire knowledge, is the story of Obasi Owosa. Especially when I talk about the story of Gilgamesh, the story of Obasi Asawi, Obassiosaw, amongst the Efik, the Efik people in Niger and Nigeria, in Africa. And according to the Ikoi story, Obasi Asawa, also spelled Abssi, the sky god and creator deity, chose not to give fire to the first humans he created. And one day, a young boy was able to steal the fire from Obasi Asawi and bring it back to humanity. You see how we can synchronize these stories? So both the biblical story and the Greek story were molded after what? African stories, which predated them. And the Greek deities, Prometheus and Hermes in particular, were molded after the African Egyptian deity Tehuti. And Tehuti, also called Jehuti or Djeuti, Dhehuti, or Zehuti, or Tot, or Thot, was the Egyptian god of wisdom, writing, magic, science, math, and measuring time. And Tehuti was a lunar deity and often depicted as a man with the head of an ibis bird or as a baboon. When I started telling y'all these teachings, nobody stole none of these are ancient teachings. I got the ancient Egyptian manuals. All animal figures are nothing but pious Egyptian hieroglyphs. And in Egyptian mythology, Tehuti was the husband of Mayat, the Egyptian goddess of truth, justice, order, and divine wisdom. And Tehuti was responsible for transforming the creative will of Ra, the Egyptian sun god, into what? Action. And Tehuti was associated with the philosophical concept of what? The Logos. There we go, talk about our Silent Brotherhood of the East. Meaning word or saying and action or works, which is derived from the word lego, meaning to count or to speak. So Logos also is used to indicate the logic or reason. Remember, words have duality, purpose, and a hypothesis for speaking. All of this is to show that the origin of the word mathematics come from the African deity Tehuti Moors. And just as I show people and I demonstrate with truth that mathematics come from the African deity Tehuti, it can be shown that the word number, which is essential to mathematics, come from Tehuti's wife, African goddess Mayat nobles. And the etymology of the word number is from the Greek word Nemein, 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 meaning to divide, to distribute, allot. When I break down what allotio deed, all that, wait till you get so much. Or deal out. The Greek word nemein is not the root word for nemesis or nemesis, Nemesis. We got to correct the false teachings. If we're going to do stuff, we got to do it the right way. We can't fall for speculative stuff if we can't prove it. Nemesis is a Greek goddess who distributes or deals our justice or revenge justice, vengeance, and divine retribution as a result of disregarding another Greek goddess called Themis, Themis, or Lady Justice, who was the mother of Prometheus and personification of divine order and law. Both Nemesis and Themis were worshipped by the Greeks in a temple called Rhamnus, Rhamnous, and the prefix Raham or Ram in the word Rhamnus comes from the Greek word Ramata, meaning words, utterance, or command, and the suffix, the nous, in the Greek word Rhamnus comes from the Greek word nous or nous, meaning mind or intellect. So the relation or the synchronicity between the nous, the mind, the intellect, the divine utterance, and Mayat, I will synchronize that in later teachings when school starts. When I get into different teachings, when I talk about the math of Mayat and the concepts that the Greek goddess Nemesis and themes represented were taken and molded after the African goddess Mayat. When I tell y'all, it ain't no such thing as Greek history, that's stolen legacy. I did that in college. I proved all that. We got all of the signs and symbols, everything. That's why Mayat was the Egyptian principle of truth, justice, and order, and balance, and divine wisdom. Mayat brought universe into order from chaos and the beginning of creation. And Mayat was represented by an ostrich feather and was also personified as a goddess wearing the feather. Personified. Are you feeling me? In the underworld called the Duat, Egyptian judgment of the dead. In the halls of Mayat, the heart is weighed against the feather of Mayat on the scales of Mayat as the measure that determined if the soul adhered to the 42 laws of Mayat and would be able to cross over to the afterlife per se, or the hereafter per se. And this is where religion gets the concept of the judgment after death mores. The word here is phonetically similar to the word HEAR. Therefore, hereafter is phonetically the same as HEAR after. Are y'all following me? And if the letters in hereafter, HEAR after, are rearranged, you get what? Heart feather. I'm breaking stuff down, how stuff be changed, y'all. I'm gonna wait till school start. I'm gonna start showing y'all gematria. When I start showing y'all codes in the Bible, it's gonna blow your mind. But the heart is weighed against the feather, what? Mayat. I'm gonna show y'all the Greek deity Nemesis, the Greek deity Themes, the Greek deity Prometheus, the Greek deity Hermes. Everything is connotated. Everything is connotated. So if somebody is a scholar should reveal these teachings. That's why I say Mayat was the African Egyptian principle of truth, justice, order, and balance, and divine wisdom. And Mayat was symbolized by that feather, right? As well as personified as a goddess wearing a feather. Mayat was the wife of Tahuti, mathematics, and math is the origin of the word number, and numbers form the foundation of mathematics and are used to determine order, and mathematic logic and reason determines truth. You see? We done. That's why Tahuti's female counterpart was the Egyptian goddess Shishat, or Shishat, S-E-S-H-A-T. And Shishat, S-E-S-H-A-T, whose name meant she who scribes, was the Egyptian goddess of wisdom, knowledge, writing, and architecture, astronomy, astrology, building, mathematics, and surveying. Shishat bore the title the enumerator, and lady of the builders. Sishat was depicted as a woman with a papyrus plant, representing writings, since the Egyptians made paper out of the papyrus plant, and above her crown or her head with a pair of inverted cow horns formed to indicate an introverted crescent moon. I'm gonna show y'all all this science, man. This is the school right here. This is what I teach. Shishat was also depicted writing on a notched palm stem, representing counting the passage of time. and dressed in a leopard skin, representing the stars and a symbol of what? Eternity. And to wear a leopard skin in ancient Africa, Moors, indicated a relationship to the builders and the craftsmen and the ability to practice hika, which is magic, which is engineering. What if you say you're an adapt and a scholar? That's what we do. That's one of the 7 Kemetic principles, the law of attraction, when we practice our voodoo. Shahat was considered a magician, an engineer, and her symbol represented the source of intuition and all creative ideas. Whereas Tahuti represents theoretical and esoteric mathematic and scientific principles. Shahat represents applicable or operative. You see how this broke those mathematic concepts down in our concepts? It represents operative mathematic and scientific principles. Tahuti represents mathematics theories, and Shahat represents mathematics in practice. And the Egyptian principle of Shahat was present when the surveying and the architectural design of the Egyptian pyramids and temples was being done to align with certain celestial bodies in the cosmos. And since Mayat established the order of the cosmos, it was the responsibility of Shahat to reflect Mayat when designing buildings to be aligned with the cosmos. That's why you get the concept, the same thing on heaven as it is on earth. That's why I say every constellation have 3 deacons. That's why I can break everything in a constellation to your physical body. I can break everything in a constellation to your brain. Every constellation have 3 deacons. So the deities, Mayat, Tahuti, and Shahat, represent a triad. A triad, here we go with that triad again, of concept. Triad, etc. Of concepts related to mathematics, science, and engineering that were acknowledged and used by ancient Africans to develop and build the many structures along the Nile River in Africa. Are we clear with this science? I leave y'all, Moors. Mathematics is an invention that was created by the human mind in order to comprehend and explain nature and reality, Moors. It is that necessity is the mother of invention. We got to understand this science. I leave y'all, man. Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, my 2 cents Moors, health and wealth. Become a student, and you can know for yourself Islam.